This is an excerpt of a webinar by Garrison Dental. Thank you to Garrison Dental for allowing us to post this excerpt. To see the full-length version, please contact www.garrisondental.com. All opinions are those of Straightsmile Solutions. We are an orthodontic consultancy company that helps general and pediatric dentists with their ortho cases and education. For help with a case, please visit www.straightsmilesolutions.com. Now, enjoy the show.
Make sure you sign up for the event on May the 17th. Now, this event is going to be, it does have a little fee to it, but we're going to have a promo code at the end because it's actually free if you think about it, because you will actually get an IPR kit that retails for a couple $100, as well as a typodont. And it's going to be, we're only taking a limited amount of people. It's going to be really intimate. We're going to be going over how to do IPR. You're going to practice it on a typodont before you do it on a patient. IPR is really, really great, especially on adult patients, patients with bolt discrepancies. If you don't know what that is, I'll send you the playlist on that. Two size discrepancies or anything like that. So, and perio patients for sure, I use them on. So you do not want to be pushing teeth through the buccal plate. And that's really important. So you should know what IPR is. Obviously, if you're sloppy with your IPR, or you're buying a cheap kit, or you're just using a disc or a burr, it's probably not very accurate. If you're not doing it accurately, you're going to need a lot more refinements, right? And the patient's going to get upset, and or you could just really mess up their teeth. I've seen crazy stuff happening. So be really careful about what system you use. Again, this is my system. That's just, I started using the system before I even started lecturing for Garrison, and most of the people I know use it. So I think you'll feel really comfortable with it. And I think it's a really affordable system too. Here's the webinar. It's going to be on 5/17 at 7 p.m. Eastern, a little earlier, but it is like a 2.5-hour lecture. So we're going to go over some general ortho stuff. We're going to go over IPR. We're going to do a hands-on stuff. So, and a lot of Q&A. So I definitely recommend that you join it. Let's talk about round tripping. And this might be a concept you're not familiar with, but most orthodontists are very familiar with it. So round tripping is exactly what it sounds like. You're taking a round trip, but it's not a good thing. So, but it will be part of most of your IPR treatment plans unless you ask for otherwise. And this is my tip. On my preferences, it says no round tripping, big, bold, bold, bold things. Never, ever. I don't want round tripping on any of my cases. Why? Because basically what it means is most people, Invisalign, ClearCorrect, SureSmile, Reveal, whatever, who cares, they don't know what IPR system you're using. They don't know if you're using a disc, a burr, they don't care. But they know that most general dentists like to do IPR on straight teeth and not crooked teeth, because otherwise they'll ledge them and weird things will happen, it'll be uneven. The cool thing about the Garrison system, and this is why I started using them, is that the files can be curved to fit the contour of crooked teeth. So if you can master doing IPR on the first aligner before we even get started when the teeth are crooked, then you don't have to round trip, e.g. straightening the teeth, then doing the IPR, then pulling them back into the space. Why is that bad? Well, I mean, it's not always bad if it's a young patient, but again, I don't do IPR on young patients. I only do IPR on older patients. So yeah, it's usually bad. If it's a older patient, basically, okay, I'm gonna have an analogy, hang on. I'm all about analogies. The funny thing is I took this in from outside and my cat almost went to the bathroom in it, so I had to kick him out. Okay, this is a dwarf banana plant because we grow bananas here. But anyways, if you have a potted plant, let's say I took the plant itself, right? It's in the middle now, right? Let's say I moved it all the way to the edge. Let's say I just scooted it over. I just dragged it over in the dirt, right? What would happen? It probably wouldn't be very healthy. It wouldn't be very happy. And then I said, never mind, I'm gonna drag it back to the middle. Well, all those little bitty roots, I almost think of a plant like a PDL, like a root, like a tooth and the root and the PDLs, because it has lots of little bitty fibers and things like that. It's not going to be happy. It might rebound and be fine, but it might never recover. It might die. It might tip. It might never be stable or healthy. That's basically how round tripping works with aligners. Don't do it, but you'll be doing it unless you say don't do it. So just a little tip. But as far as I know, Garrison is one of the only, might be the only, I don't know. Kevin can tell us later, company that has the pre-curved files. Otherwise, you're gonna have to round trip. There's no other option, which is unhealthy. And I've seen many teeth die. Even my own auntie, she had ortho. They round tripped. Guess what? She lost her lower incisors. So that's a personal story. Okay. Another tip, always capture your terminal molar fully on your impression or scan and double check. So this is something that we see sometimes in direct consumer aligner companies because people take home impressions and they don't capture the terminal molar. They don't know, I'm not gonna say names or anything, but they don't know because they don't have an x-ray, right? So what happens? Those terminal molars will extrude because they're not covered and funky things will happen with the bite. So you have to always capture that full terminal molar, which is part of the reason why I say just take a scan, especially if they have third molars. Too tricky, right? Another tip is whenever you do even an initial, but definitely the refinements, you always want to double check your articulation. So I always train my doctors, pardon me, to use articulating paper whenever they take their photos, their occlusal photos, it doesn't matter. And to take lots of photos throughout the treatment. There's lots of power in the photos. But tap, tap, grind, grind. I know some people say, oh, well, no need to take pictures because I'm taking a scan. But I swear at least 80% of the time, the articulation is wrong. And I always say, oh, let me see those occlusal photos. And it doesn't even match up. They just guess. Even if you have a scanner, even if you have an iTero, they're guessing half the time. And if it's not accurate, you guess what? You get another refinement, guaranteed. So this is a super easy 1 cent way to ensure you have fewer refinements on every single occlusal photo. Just a tip. And I feel like it's worse with impressions, but it's still terrible with scans. It doesn't matter the scanner company. It doesn't matter the aligner company. They're all terrible. Okay, I told you I love working with kiddos. But this isn't even just about kiddos. Habits, habits, habits. And I know you're thinking habits are just sucking your thumb, sucking your fingers, passies, binkies, things like that. Guess what? Adults have tons of habits. A lot of times they started with the kiddo habits and then they have adult habits and they might not even know. So this is another, if you've worked with me before one-on-one, we get in all kinds of arguments. I'm like, nope, you need to eval for habits. Something's going on. Listen, I have the skill. Like I said, I've seen tens of thousands of cases. I have the skill to know if there's a habit. The patient might not even know there's a habit. They won't even admit it. Guess what? I have a habit. And I just found out 2 months ago, and I'm an orthodontist. I had no idea I had a habit. So right now, I'm going to teach you a little trick. I want you to freeze. Exactly where your mouth is, where your tongue is, where your lips are, freeze, wherever you are. Where is the tip of your tongue resting right now in rest? Feel it. If the tip of your tongue, and this blew my mind. I don't know why I didn't know this. They never taught us anything like this in residency. If the tip of your tongue is not right up here, behind or on the incisive foramen, you have a habit. So what can happen? Well, it can make your ortho case very unpredictable. It's basically either a tongue resting position habit or it's a tongue thrust habit. I found out I have a severe tongue thrust habit, and sometimes you can hear it in my voice, and I'm going through OMT therapy to fix it. I was in speech therapy as a kid. I had a lot of relapse issues. I had ortho 3 times. Surprise, guess what? It was due to my habit. No one ever told me. And I went through residency and 18 years of being an orthodontist and never figured it out. Blew me away. So now I hired my own OMT. Yeah, I'm paying a fair amount of money for it, but the benefits are crazy. Like, I can just go on. I'm obsessed with it. So I would love to share with you my whole habit OMT playlist, everything I'm learning, there's so many benefits. I'm totally obsessed with it. And I think OMTs are absolutely fabulous. And guess what? You can bring an OMT into your office. And this is another tip. You can train any hygienist in your practice or any dentist in your practice to be an OMT. In order to be an OMT, you can either, it's only a 4-day course with the test. It's really, really not a big deal. I'm thinking about doing it. Too busy right now. But you can be a dentist, a physician, a hygienist, or a speech and language pathologist. That's the 4 people you can be to take this accelerated program. You can get certified, really easy. There's no licensure at this moment in different states. I think that's going to change eventually. So I feel like everyone should really get someone in their practice because you can bill separately for this. I'm paying someone independently to do it, but I'm like, shoot, with the amount I'm paying, I should just do this, as a side hustle. I mean, it's not cheap. So check it out. You definitely should research OMTs. If you don't have someone in your practice that's licensed to do it, you need to find somebody, because if you're going to take harder cases, there's going to be times you're going to need to involve the OMT to eliminate that habit. Now, there's other ways of eliminating habits. This is the way I always did it before with cribs, but you need to do it before the aligners, like 6 months to a year before. And a lot of patients don't want to wear this for a year before their ortho. So, and I don't even know if that fixes the problem fully. So it'll blow you away what habits are. And it's really cool. You can do an OMT evaluations. A lot of them do it for less than $100, $150 a full session. You can find out if you have a habit. And for me, it was life-changing. So definitely recommend it. Okay. This is more tricky stuff. I told you we're going to get a little more advanced.